Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Ending Hour podcast.
What's going on, guys? So today we have two very special guests with us today. We have Devon and we have AJ. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys having us.
Of course. So a little bit of background for y'all. We met these guys at Red Dogs. They're both bouncers at Red Dogs. And through coming to know them, we actually realized that they both fight MMA. So that'll be mostly what this episode's covering. We'll give it a little bit of background, kind of as like with their profession in MMA, but also with them bouncing as well.
For sure.
Yeah, guys. So one of the things that me and Trey are highly interested in, it's our favorite sport to watch and to follow is, MMA, UFC, Bellator, all that. So with that, what has gotten you guys into MMA? Like, how were you guys introduced to it?
Yeah, man. So when I was younger, I used to play Fight Night round 4 all the time. And I wanted to start boxing after playing it. So my mom signed me up for a boxing gym. This was back when I lived in New York. And then we moved down here, joined another boxing gym when I was in here. Throughout high school, I focused all on basketball. And when I was done playing basketball, once I realized pro wasn't working out, I always told myself I wanted to go back to fighting. So I was talking to one of my buddies and I was like, I want to learn how to wrestle, grapple, throw kicks. And they recommended me to Brunson's MMA. They knew somebody that trained there. So yeah, he was like, you should go train there. And then the first day I went and trained, I just fell in love with it.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Devon?
Dude, I was, it's kind of funny. I was in a weird headspace because I was I had just lost a job. I just broken up with a chick and I was gaining a shit ton of weight. And I think before I found MMA, I was at 330. And one of my friends who was also on a weight loss journey was like, hey man, I want to start back jiu-jitsu, but I don't want to do this alone. I want someone to do it with and kind of grow with. And at first it was I don't know. But watching UFC and, admiring so many of these guys like Anthony Pettis, Max Holloway, Adesanya, BJ Penn, it's maybe it would hurt to see where these guys started, how they, their roots, how they grew to be what they are. First day of jiu-jitsu, got my ass beat. Never sweated more in my entire life. And that's saying something because I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years and all we did was run. But yeah, dude, I loved it. I don't have words to comprehend how much it took a hold of me. Yeah. And ever since then, I just stuck with it and went from jiu-jitsu to striking and then putting it all together. And here we are today.
Oh yeah.
It's nice because that's why we love it so much, is because it's truly an art form, because there's so many different types of, there's boxing, there's, jiu-jitsu, there's, back in the day, there'd be taekwondo, karate stuff, but a lot of it has been basically your ground game, you're striking now. So with all those different, specialties, you put them together, and that's what makes a well-versed fighter. So it's the art form, whereas the casuals, they don't understand what really goes into it as well. And being able to grow in that industry as a fighter, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the art aspect of MMA. It's literally called mixed martial arts.
Yep.
They just think it's just a fight. Yeah. And I have people ask me all the time oh, you don't seem like a fighter, you're never angry, all this. I'm it's a sport. There's an art behind it.
Yeah,
it's not just about being angry and wanting to hurt people.
Yep. Because my wrestling coach wanted me to actually wrestle in high school, and I did the only reason I regret not doing it, but the only reason I didn't do it is because I didn't want to wear the singlet. I was like, nah, I'm not wearing that shit.
I swear, dude. I wrestled for 1 year in middle school, and I stopped because I had to do that. I was like, I'm not doing that. Now I'm damn, I'm an idiot. I should have stuck with it.
And it's funny because at that age, even high school, where he was being asked to do it, it was at that age, it's unless you have an absolute passion, your peers are going to make fun of you. And so that, even though you're I kind of want to do this, or I really want to do this, that also,
Yeah, that would make you question it. All your friends are talking shit to you. You're damn, do I really like this?
Yeah. But yeah, guys, so what is the, the MMA scene in this area here? Is it something that is top tier? A lot of people want to come to North Carolina to train. We do have Derek Brunson here, which is a UFC vet.
Yeah.
We have him, training here too. So is this area like a good place for like people who want to get into MMA to come down and to start training? Is this a good area?
Yeah, I would say for sure. Not only like do we have Derek, who I train with, Devon trains at Port City, which is Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu. And they have guys like John Salter, Jamie Pickett. They used to have Joe Selecki. I mean, they have dogs there at that gym. So I would say, I mean, I might be a little biased, but we have really good fighters here, really high-level UFC guys, the guys that have like done it. They're not just skilled fighters. They've done the business side of things and all that. So I would say it's a real good spot to be.
Yeah. And that's like the crazy thing is because like once you like kind of get into like knowing like the industry and stuff, like it goes so many layers deep because like there could be somebody like you honestly could go up against like somebody that's in the UFC and somebody might be like, oh no, like there's no way, like, this guy's Mr. So-and-so like in the UFC, like, whether it be like Cyril Gahn or something, like you're actually the same size or similar size. So
exactly.
It's like they just got like down a path where they were able to get that notoriety and get signed because like you said, Joe Selecki, like, yeah, he's in the UFC, so was Derek Brunson. And it's like, literally live with those guys, live near those guys.
Exactly.
So like being able to market that, because like obviously the UFC is the biggest promotion. It's not even comparable. But like Bellator, now the PFL, like there's a lot of different, because I mean back in the day, like during like Ken Shamrock's days and like Royce Gracie and stuff, like when Dana White first started with the UFC and the Fertitta brothers, like that thing was like, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
Like Dana White had to dig in, and like he said, like Joe Rogan did the first X number of episodes for free because he just loved like the art of it. Like he was talking on like a late night show, and like Dana saw him, was like, I need this guy.
Yeah.
That's how like Joe Rogan got involved in it. And now it's so big, and that's why like so much credit, even though like Conor McGregor is like going down like a shit path, like, and kind of tarnishing his legacy, he put like UFC and like MMA in general, like on a map and like a whole different level. Like he made it like kind of household like venture. Now like people that are considered casuals will still tune in.
Yeah.
Because like what he was doing during like 2016 and such.
And you see with a lot of fighters, like the way they speak on the mic, everybody's like trying to be like, they're trying to be like Conor, which like I understand. I'm not hating on it. You got to promote your fights and sell them. And he was like the best ever at it. So
that was, I mean, did y'all ever hear about, like, I'm sure y'all did, but like the Colby Covington, he was literally in Brazil about to get cut. And when he was like, Brazil's a dump, you dirty, filthy animals and stuff. And like, that's literally what basically flipped his career, turned him from babyface to villain. And then he like just started like building off that.
Yeah. You got to make people hate you sometimes.
Exactly. That's what Dana White said. Dana White said,
back it up too.
You can't be dog shit.
You can't talk shit. Sorry.
But yeah, if Dana White, he said that too. He's like, if one of the fighters walks out and everybody cheers and goes crazy, that's good. But if everybody starts booing and wanting to throw shit at you, that's good.
Yeah.
Because it's like with people, like, I mean, there's people that like people literally Sean O'Malley, he gets a lot of love, but a lot of people think that he's a clown. They don't like him and stuff. And they think that he was just a wannabe Conor McGregor, even though he's coming in as his own little niche. And so like a lot of people would tune in just to see, when's the hype train going to end with O'Malley and stuff. So,
dude, look at Jake Paul. Like, people will watch him because they hate him and they want him to lose. Like, that's why I watched a bunch of his first fights. I've grown to respect Jake Paul. Actually, I think he's a decent boxer. I don't think he's top of the world, but he definitely trains hard and stuff like that. So, but
we've touched on that.
I love the O'Malley comparison too, because like when I tell people I'm a huge fan of Sean O'Malley, they're like, "Oh, well, what's he got that's so good?" I was like, "Well, pay attention to his striking. Yeah, his striking is so precise and so pristine." And it's like, he makes a fool out of himself with the hair and some of the stuff he says. But the reason why a lot of these fighters can do that stuff is because they can back it up. Like, you can talk all the shit you want to talk if you know you can hit a spinning back kick to someone's chin.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? It's like his last fight he had with who was it?
Marab.
Yeah. Like, man, he got handled in that fight. And what some people don't remember is, like, fighting is fighting. The night you show up on that fight, that might not be your best night.
Exactly.
But the fight that he had against Tito Ortiz, was it Tito Ortiz?
No, Cheeto Vera.
Cheeto Vera, yeah.
That's what I said.
And that dude, he hit Cheeto with the hardest shot I've ever.
That knee?
Dude,
bro.
Dude, baseball bat.
Okay, dude, could you imagine if that was during the COVID era when there was not fans?
Yeah.
That shit would have sounded like a sonic pop.
I think Justin Gagey fought Tony Ferguson in that time.
And you just heard everything.
Yeah.
That's honestly, because there was like a couple of videos that came out about that. And it's like, dude, when there's like thousands, 20,000, 30,000 people in the arena and you're still hearing those shots, like, they got the lavalier mics. They got all like the best production, be it the UFC having as much, income and revenue as they do. But when the COVID era hit and you could hear everything in its raw form, that was like fighting in the backyard. Like, you heard everything. Remind me of like Kimbo's backyard kind of.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Crushing.
Honestly, I think they should go back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
honestly,
some fights at least.
Yeah.
like going off of what you said about backyard. So like a lot of people who are fans of MMA, they just tune into UFC or, they might look up YouTube videos and stuff like that. And that's, the avenue they can get their content and they'll be able to watch their fights because they're interested in it. But people don't know, like all they see is their stars in the UFC. They don't see anything before that. They just see when they get to the UFC. So like what is like the avenue for like a new fighter to come in? Like what steps do you got to take to get to that UFC, like to even be seen by the UFC?
Yeah, man. So I think it's really depending on like who you are as a fighter. I know there's some guys that have taken the route of having like 15 amateur fights, having their toughest fights, coming out bruised up and things like that, just trying to like prep to go pro and stuff like that. So they took like a longer route with it. Then you have guys that are smart. They know they're skilled enough. They know they're talented enough. They take maybe like a couple amateur fights so they're not like too beat up now, and they take tougher fights like later on. It's really depending on the people. But I mean, obviously you just got to train. You got to be consistent. Fight consistently. Like I would try to fight like 4 times a year, 4 to 6 times a year. That's like once every 2 to 3 months probably. So just be consistent, and you got to promote yourself nowadays. Like you got to have like an Instagram, a TikTok.
Yeah. So social media is like a big influence into like promoting yourself to be seen by these like other bigger promotions. Cause like, you could be in like a really small promotion and then the chances of getting to the UFC are like very slim. Like you got to build yourself up, you got to build your popularity up, your following. And then that's when like, people start seeing you, they start talking about you.
Yeah.
So I was just curious to like, be like, like, is there like, very known smaller promotions that people try to join that are like popular smaller ones to like kind of like slingshot themselves in popularity? Or is there like, it's just like kind of hit or miss or regional or?
Yeah, you really just fight on like any regional circuit you can find. And then there is some that have more like clout, I guess to say, than other promotions. If you have like the right coaches, like guys like us have coaches that have connections. So we just have to focus on like showing up and being ready to fight. Like I'll let my coaches who have been in the UFC, like they'll handle like the rest. I'm just focused on like showing up and fighting.
Gotcha.
But yeah, most guys try to hit these like smaller promotions, get a couple wins onto them, and then bigger promotions would be interested in you.
Is it true you have to have like I think it's like what 5 amateur fights before you can qualify as pro? And what goes into
4.
qualifying? 4? What goes into qualifying? Like how do you become from an amateur, somebody that just decided on a random Tuesday night, you know what, I'm going to start fighting MMA, versus somebody who wants to take it into a profession and do it for a career?
Yeah, so it's been changed, and it depends on the state's athletic commission. Okay. There's some states where it's like 6 amateur fights. I know like me and my buddy Kavanis were the last 2 in South Carolina to go pro with less than 5 fights. I only did 2 amateur, and Kavanis did 1 amateur and went pro after that. Basically, you have to figure it out with your coaches. They want to make sure you're ready and able to defend yourself. That's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Refs look for that too. And like the judges, the athletic commission, like when they see you do your amateur fights, for you to be able to go pro, they want to be able to see you defend yourself in like really like tough times, scary times, and not like, you're not going to get hurt out there. Like hurt, Obviously you can get hurt in MMA, but not like really like get your ass beat.
Right. Yeah. Right. So
because one of your fights, the one you posted, it was a dog fight. Like the guy would not go down. Like he was definitely like eating shots, and like you ate a couple big shots too, and then like you finally finished him, and it was just like, he definitely dug in deep there and got. For sure. Somebody commented below too and was like, got that dog in him. I was like, dude, that's what it takes at the end. Yeah, man. You're digging deep, and there's like,
For sure. There's nothing like being in that moment, you're tired and someone's trying to take your head off. Like you definitely have to have some sort of crazy, some sort of toughness to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. What I really like about MMA, and like I'll tell this to anyone who's about to start or is thinking about starting, is like, you're not going to last in the sport if you don't have at least a little something wrong with you. Like, and it's not to say like there's something wrong with AJ. It's just like, there's got to be something in your head that's like, I like the fact that he's hitting me and I can hit him back. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that I'm in a spot to where I have to figure out how to get out of it. I like the fact that if I get the chance to do what I want to do to this person, I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's not for everybody. Like I've brought people who are my friends into the gym. And I'm like, yeah, man, you're going to love it, man. Like, wait till you learn this move. Wait till you learn that move. They take one hit to the face, one choke to the neck. They're like, oh, never again.
Yeah. If you want to make it, I'll say, like, you have to embrace the suck. Like, you got to understand it's not all like fun, you know, there's fun parts to it, but that comes from like doing all the shitty parts of it.
Right.
Like, you know, you got to be super disciplined, like eat healthy all the time, fucking work out a bunch. You know, you got to like do your skill sessions at your MMA gym, get a lift in. You got to get your cardio sessions in. You try to still like have a balanced life and like party and do fun stuff with your friends, but like when you really want to take fighting to that next level, you can't. Like it sucks, but you have to separate yourself from all that like fun extracurricular stuff.
Yeah, we're friends with Joe and Marcus Mondragon, and Joe would like back in 2022, and like we'd going out, we had like group of 8 to 12 of us every weekend. Joe would hardly ever come if he had a fight. Like if he had a fight, he was dialed in. He wasn't going out partying. He had like a different regiment than whenever he was like post fight.
Yeah,
so it definitely is like you got to have that discipline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with people, like you have to have that it factor. You have to like, because this isn't for the faint of heart, like what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you have some people who do MMA just for the exercise because it's rigorous exercise. But like for the people who actually want to do it and stuff, like I don't think people realize like how much it takes mentally to do that. Because like you said, you get hit in the face, people are like, all right, you know, this seemed cool at first, but now it's like, nah, probably not for me. So it's not for everybody. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But also too, man, like know what you want out of it. Like I'm not a pro fighter. I guess you could call me an amateur fighter, but I haven't had a fight yet. But just know what you want. Like I took MMA and I stuck with it because it was like, this is a way for me to take everything negative that I encounter in life and somehow make it into something positive. Not meaning like I'm going to take it out on other people, but instead of like sitting in my car and crashing out over some shit that happened in traffic or a conversation that happened at work that made me mad or something that happened with a family member, take all that energy that you would to like put into a bad argument or a bad reaction, put that into the gym, put that into training harder, focusing harder. And I've never gone into training in a bad mood and left in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Not one time.
So it sounds like you use it a lot more like an outlet for different stuff. Like you use it kind of like a lot of people would just go into the gym to lift weights. Like you get that good pump and you're like, all right, nice. That was like, you're using something like, I mean, it might be very rigorous when you're there. It might be a tough time because like, yes. And they always say, you know, some of the best results come from a road rough traveled. Like, and so like, yeah, like what you were saying when you're in the fight, digging deep, being able to be like, all right. Cause if I like, I mean, Dustin Poirier said it once, you know, he was like, damn dude, if I just would have like, cause now I'm going to think about this moment for 3 months. Like I'm literally not going to stop thinking about this. If I just would have done this or done that. And so like, I think you're using it a lot more like as an outlet. Are you like considering getting into like doing like actual bouts?
Yeah,
dude. So like, and I was telling him before we started, you know, one of the guys who coaches me, Dante Woods, he'll pull me to the side and be like, hey, look, man, so like I saw where you start and I see where you're at. And just understand that when you fight, you might surprise yourself. As like, you know, I always come back to that moment of when he said that to me, because it's like, I remember starting sparring and I didn't even know how to throw a punch correctly. And now I teach little kids how to throw punches. You know what I mean? Now I'm sparring with guys who've been pro fighters for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm not sucking against them. And so it's like, it's a weird moment to get to that point where it's like, I could actually do this. But the advice I give to people who want to fight is like, you know, you can want to fight, but that doesn't mean you have to make your whole life fighting.
Right.
Like I am also a massage therapist. I also do bouncing. I also screenwrite. So It's like you can do this thing and it can be a part of your life, but that doesn't mean it has to be all your life. Mm-hmm. And I think some people, when they start, they're like, oh, well, that means I'd have to be a fighter if I trained X amount.
Shit. No. Who was it in the UFC that he was like a real estate agent or something, but he was like top ranked. Damn, who was it?
A lot of those guys,
like a lightweight fighter, I think.
Believe it or not, have like regular ass jobs on the side. Yeah. Like Stipe is still a firefighter. Yeah. And he's the best heavyweight of all time. Yep. Like going home and working during fight camp, like being a firefighter until like a week before the fight.
I mean, that's how like I think like all the guys back in the days had to. Like I mean, during like Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, like even before them, like with Ken Shamrock, if you weren't like probably like the top handful of names in the organization, I mean, Jared Cannonier said it. He was like, dude, like I need to fight because I got to eat. Like I'm broke.
And he's like the perfect example because he's a top level guy. Like he's a great fighter, but in terms of like promotion and like fan favorites, he's not super big.
Yep.
He's not a superstar.
You have to really be in touch with MMA to know who he is.
Exactly.
Even though he has the same skill set as somebody who you would know.
So like the money in the sport really isn't all that great. It definitely can open up opportunities for you. Like you can start training people, doing coaching, you can like sponsorships, things like that. But the money for just fighting really isn't all that great.
Yep. Yeah. And perfect. You said that because it is. And it's like, pretty much how you can look at it is, UFC, like if you just, talk about that promotion, like Sean O'Malley is going to make more on a fight than maybe someone that he's fighting is because he's brought so many buys and pay-per-view buys, eyes, just exposure that he gets compensated for that exposure.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, social media influencers. They're social media influencers kind of on the side because they're doing that, bringing eyes in, and then they fight. So, I mean, I feel like you get compensated for how much you bring in, just like anything else.
Exactly.
Dana White saw that in the Contender Series because that's what he told, the announcer. He said, she said something about like, what are you looking for? And he's like, I'm looking for that X factor, and that X factor is Sean O'Malley. And then like back then, Sean O'Malley was basically just kind of looked a little bit like a nerd. Like he looked like a dork. Like he didn't even have the color hair or anything like that. And then like you saw like he developed a little bit more tattoos, and he must have worked with like a designer who just was like, all right, I'm gonna paint you a very unique picture, and that's what you're gonna do. And then he went with this like light pink and lime green vibrant color scheme. And he even said in an interview like early on he was making like I think it was like 10 and 10 to show, 10 to win.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, I'm not living off that with my like desires, my lifestyles, like what I want to do. So he started getting into like his own brand, like the Sugar Show, Sugar Sean. Like he started branding very well and growing that marketability because he does have that charisma. Like even in like the fight, I think it might have been the Cheetah fight, but he was like, or no, it wasn't the Cheetah fight. It was the Aljamain Sterling fight. They were like, oh, a lot of people had it 10-8 the first round, and he thought about it, and then it didn't. It was like almost instant. He was like, "Would they weigh this?" Or would they? It's like, "Would they rate the second round?" Yep, because he knocked him out in that round. So it was like that was a pretty good comeback. So like obviously like the charisma and like your marketability, like how much you can market yourself. I mean, because if you're just like taking kicking ass, taking names, and you're just like undefeated, and like a lot of the Dagestanis, you don't know who the hell they are. You can't even pronounce their name. Next thing you know, they're 12-0 or they're 20-0, and like I basically like the guy I guess that like it was even older than Khabib's dad. He had like 4 fighters that are under like his like platform, and they're Umar, another guy that I think is like fights in like 170 or 185, then Islam and Khabib.
Yeah.
And between all their records are like 192-1. But like, I mean, it wasn't until like later that Khabib started making all that money too. So
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of those guys will have just tons and tons and tons of fights, but the money comes more when you can market yourself.
And that's why you have to really love it. And that's kind of what we were talking about before when he was like trying to figure out, because you can just do a fight just to try it out and say you did it.
Yep.
But you have to have a conversation with yourself and see like if you really want to be a pro fighter and like make it to that next level, you can't like half-ass it. You have to be all the way in there because it's a dangerous game. So
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good to go.
I would, I'm saying this as someone who's like currently experiencing this. I would not let someone who's like starting that journey or in the middle of that journey, I tell them not to let people like push them into a position to where they're not ready for. Because, me at this point, I'm like, okay, I train hard. I train 4 to 5 times a week. I'm training other people. I'm in the gym before anybody else is most days. So it's like, it makes sense for me to at least do one fight. If I love it, I'll keep going. If it's not my thing, I can still say I did it. But like what I hate seeing, and I've seen it plenty of times, is people say, oh, well, I'm getting to this certain age, so I should probably take a fight. It was like, well, if you're not ready to take a fight, don't take a fight yet. Or someone's like, well, I love to train, but people are saying that I'm good enough to do this. It was like, yeah, you're good enough, but do you want to? Because the last thing you want to do is be in a cage with someone who is not doing this because they enjoy doing it. It's because they have to do it.
Yeah.
Like this is their way out of a bad situation. You don't want to be in a cage across from that guy and not love what you're doing.
Nope.
It's a very scary feeling. And the people who've talked about it is like, I immediately realized I didn't want to be there. So it's like, yeah, like I said before, just know what you want.
Yeah. And so like how, like, where the position you guys are at, like how, like, do you go about getting a fight? Does like, another promotion call yours and like, yo, you got a fighter that we could, match with this guy, or, how is it, that you go about getting a fight?
Yeah, so it kind of works on like both parties. Like for a couple of my fights, I've just like reached out in Facebook group chats. It's literally one's called Looking for a Fight, and I'm like, I'm a heavyweight. I say my record, whatever, and like I'm looking for a fight. I need an opponent. Looking to fight in January, whatever. And matchmakers will usually hit you up and be like, I have this guy on this date if you want to take that, or I have a guy 2 months later. So they'll give you options like that. Most promotions will reach out to gyms too. Like they'll probably send like an email or something to Salty's or Brunson's and things like that. And like, hey, we have an upcoming card. If you guys have anybody looking to fight, things like that.
I got you. Okay. So what point, like, let's say you had like, 3 amateur fights, you went pro, you had 5 fights. Like at what point do you be like, all right, now I need to look into like maybe hiring an agent? Like where does that start thinking about doing?
I mean, for me, like I kind of got lucky and blessed to have like such a cool coach in Derek who's been here, and I'm not signed with him as my manager, but he's basically like guiding my career right now. Like every fight I get, I hit him up, make sure it's something he wants to do, make sure the money's right, things like that. So I would say he's basically my manager right now. And I think you should get one right away, just because a lot of these MMA promoters will try to fuck you over. They'll try to like, not pay you as much as you deserve for like your travel, or, like give the other guy way more money than you, and just try to get you shitty matchups, things like that. So it's definitely good to have somebody in your corner, especially somebody that's been there.
That's what I was going to say, especially somebody, Derek, who he understands the industry. Yeah. And being part of the UFC, like he's seen the lowest of the low as far as the depth that it can go, not quality, but like the highest quality and the lowest depth. He's experienced like all of that, where like, being able to negotiate stuff. Cause I'm sure for like amateur bouts and pro bouts, even on like the like smaller promotions, it's probably the same. Like there's a show fee and a win fee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So. And you get like commission off ticket sales, things like that.
Oh, nice.
But some promoters will try to sneak like things into the contract that you might not see if you're new to it. Like I wouldn't. There's a bunch of things I probably wouldn't, As a fighter, you just want to fight. Yep. So like they send the contract, I'm like, fuck it, I'm signing that shit, Yeah. Like I just want to fight. So that's why.
So a lot of people are probably like familiar with like the stuff that they see the most on like social media, like, Connor's not come back because he hasn't been USADA tested for 6 months or something like that. What's it like on like the like smaller promotions for y'all, like getting into like the pro scene and stuff, like for like drug testing, like the weigh-ins, like explain like to the audience how it would look like from what they see on like a Bellator or like mainly a UFC card, like the weigh-ins on a Friday night versus.
So really, I mean, at professional, everything is pretty much like similar to those events. We don't really do press conferences. That depends on how big the promotion is, how much money they have. But weigh-ins are usually the day before. We do face-offs always. Yep. And then the day of the fight, we're pretty much just in the morning, we get checked up by a doctor, make sure blood pressure's good, like small things like that. And then you're just in the gym waiting to fight, really.
Nice. So another thing that I think is going to be something that the audience would be interested in if they have a background or knowledge of MMA is the weight cut, because like from a casual perspective, people have always wondered like, all right, is it really worth, like, cause people have seen videos where like somebody's like, I mean, Hamzat literally like in whichever UFC event where they had to do that switcheroo where he fought Nate instead of Kevin Holland and stuff because like it was just like too dangerous. The doctor's like, no, he'll probably like die if he like tries to cut that additional weight. Like what is the art? Explain like weight cutting, like what's the pros and cons of it, obviously. Yeah. And like why is it a thing inside of this career path?
So me and him were actually just talking about this, and to be completely honest, we're both heavyweights, so we don't have to worry about weight cutting as much. But funny enough, I was just with my teammate Tim. He's got a fight tomorrow, and he had like 13 pounds to drop from this morning. So we were in the sauna together for like an hour and a half, just like grinding it out. And he wasn't able to have water for 2 days, so he hasn't drank water in 2 days. He's barely been eating, like you do like probably like some Greek yogurt and like fruit. You're not really eating anything like super heavy, and you're obviously not drinking because you're trying to keep that water weight off. So it can be draining. I think, and every athletic commission is different too. Like some amateur in North Carolina, they do the same day weigh-ins, which is stupid as hell because you weigh in, you cut all that weight, your brain's the last thing to get rehydrated. Right. So they're trying to like chug water, get rehydrated, but their brain's not fully like hydrated yet. Yep. That's how you get knocked out like quick. So I don't understand the whole weight bully thing. Like guys that are like 185 and want to go all the way down to like 150.
Right.
You know, because people do that. I don't really understand it. That's a lighter guy thing.
Yeah.
But I know I would never do that. I would never want to try to like cut down to 215 and feel like shit just because I can like fight heavier.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, what do you walk around at right now?
I walk around at like 255, 260.
Yeah, I'm walking around 274, 275. So it's like for me to fight, I'd have to get down to 265.
Yep.
And that's what, 2 weeks in the gym?
Yeah.
Just sweating, working out every day, eating clean. So that's not really going to be super taxing, but people who have to cut like that 20, 25, 30, 35 pounds, yeah, that's hard work.
Yeah. And like if you're looking to like know what the behind the scenes on that is, I mean, it's really just like they got to get a sauna suit. They're showing up the training. Yeah, one of the sweatsuits. They're doing all like the kickboxing, wrestling classes in those. You got to hit a sauna. You could do like hot bath, things like that.
Mm-hmm. The dehydration's the biggest thing because, like you said, like that's really what it is like you dehydrate yourself, which is extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
and then you rehydrate yourself, like you said. Yep, the brain's the last thing to get hydrated, and it's just so dangerous that like I feel like in like 20 years or maybe even like 5 years, it's gonna be like, all right, yeah, let's stop doing this. Like there's a way to mandate it, especially. I mean, y'all don't have to deal with it as much as the heavyweights, but like the flyweights, the bantamweights, the lightweights, the middleweights, everyone pretty much under heavyweight and maybe light heavyweight, depending on what you walk around at, they're cutting huge. Like someone like Patty the Batty, like I have no idea. He's like, I'd rather be fat and happy than chiseled and looking good. And that dude cuts like 50 plus pounds every time. And I'm like, crazy. Dude, how the hell does he do that healthy wise?
Yeah, no, it can't be healthy for him and like your kidneys and liver and shit. I mean, you're like putting on so much weight and cutting it so quick and then putting it right back on. It's
Yeah. So like for me, like I don't think I could go through that portion. I hate being hot. I love the cold. I thrive in it. Like that, I just don't think I could do.
Yeah. No, it sucks, dude. Sitting in that sauna when you have to like cut weight and you can't drink any water. You're just sitting there like watching the clock. You're like, when is this shit gonna be over?
Yeah. Whenever what was it? I think it was Alexander Volkanovski. His last fight with what's his name? The flyweight champion right now.
Pantoja or something.
Pantoja.
Yeah, Pantoja.
No, that or not the flyweight. I mean the featherweight champion.
Ilya?
Ilya Taporia. Dana White set his cup of water down next to Ilya, and Ilya was like, he's just staring at it. And Dana was like, yeah, that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah. No, that sucks. We don't ever have to do anything like that. Like these dudes would be like in the middle of their weight cut, like just get out the sauna or something, and then they got to go deal with press and like interviews and stuff. That shit must suck.
Yeah, the early pictures of Conor McGregor back in like between 2014, 2016, when he was fighting featherweight, like he literally looked like.
When he fought Aldo, that way of like he looked like
he was scary looking. It was like, dude, who the hell is that?
Yeah,
was
he looked like a rabid wolf.
Yeah, he did
literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a perfect way to describe him. But like, do you guys like you just said something about like press? So like on fight week, I guess you could say fight week. So is like every fight you're gonna have like some type of press, some type of like press conference?
Yeah, for sure. That's another thing that's like promotion. Like it depends on the promotion. Most promotions do a good job of trying to like make it legit and professional. So they're gonna have like writers there. You might not be getting filmed, but they'll like just have like a news reporter there like interviewing you. Or for my last fight in Cleveland, some guy hit me up on Facebook and kind of just sent me a list of like a bunch of questions to answer. And then he like talked about that and sent it to the commentator, so they were able to speak about me during the fight and things like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And like for me, I have like friends. Like, have you guys heard of Baby Hulk?
Yeah,
he's my roommate.
Yeah, that's his boy.
Yeah. I went to high school with him. I went to Hoggard with him. Him and his brother, and like played football with him and shit. And like I've watched his fights like on Street Beef?
Street Beef.
Yeah, I watched his fights on that and stuff, and it's just crazy because like I mean, watching him, it was very entertaining to watch him, win a championship in that. I was proud of him on that, and then but it's crazy to like watch those types of fights and then like progressively see like as you go up promotions like the different styles, like it's more calculated in the promotions you see on TV and stuff like that, and then down there you could see clearly like hey, this fighter's more experienced than this one because this dude just throwing haymakers and getting caught, and it's it's just cool to see that. So is it like have you guys like came across or like have any guys that you're friends with that are like this dude's gonna be a star? Have you guys came across that?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
you go ahead, Dev.
We were just talking about shout out to Troy Kane, man. Troy Kane is one of those guys who you go against him, you're just like, this guy has something special. Like his demeanor, his skill set, his composure. Like there's everything across the board this man has. And I think he was like, what, 230? 230 or something
around there.
This man manhandles me at practice, man. Like it's nothing. And I don't know. I just, whenever I see this man, whenever we talk, whenever I watch him spar, whenever I watch him roll, it's like this man has everything star power about him.
So does he have the charisma too?
I was about to say, does he have the mic?
Dude, he's a good old Southern boy, man. Like he's got the accent, he's got the slang.
He's one of those guys that'll have like, he'll be famous not for talking shit. Like he's a super humble guy. So like, I think guys like that can go far with the mic as well, just because they're so likable. Like they're humble. They're not dickheads.
Yep. And there's a lot. There's a lot of guys in the MMA like world, like, and everybody. We'll reference the UFC because that's what people are gonna know. Like, I mean, there's so many names that you could use. I mean, like I think Dustin, he's a guy that takes volume, and he doesn't sit there like he'll fight 4, 5, 6 times a year, and he doesn't really get involved in a bunch of the trash talk back and forth and stuff. Yeah. So like he's someone that like you would consider a humble guy, and just puts in the work, and his skills talk for itself.
Exactly. Like Max Holloway, all those kind of guys.
Like the nicest guy ever.
Dude, my favorite
Stephen Thompson.
Yeah. Dude, he's just so good. And he's the nicest guy.
I swear.
As like people, like whenever I see these guys come onto these weigh-ins and like, not the ceremonial weigh-ins, but like the ones where they sit in the press conference and it is like everyone's talking all this shit. It is like, bro, you can talk all you want, but when you get in that cage, you better be able to back up everything you say. And
I don't understand the talk.
Stephen Thompson's like, hey man, I don't know why you guys gotta be so mean, bro. Just give me a hug, and then he'll kick you right in the fucking face.
I've never understood the talk before the fight's like, bro, we're about to be locked in the cage tomorrow. Just talk to me.
I think what it is, honestly, is it's all like, I mean, Colby does it best. Like Connor even knew. Like Connor could be a dick. He can be literally the most arrogant person in the whole entire stadium. But like I feel like Colby's a better example because he really was like a nice guy. He's like, fuck, this is not working. Like I don't want to get canned. Like he's obviously a great wrestler. Like he has even solid striking, but like he knew this is what's going to keep food on the table for me. Yeah. At the end of the day, people are going to buy, and it's like the nature of the business side of it. Like you could have 2 people who are 10 out of 10 fighters, like 2 of the best that ever do it. And if they're both nice, nobody really wants to watch that as much as they want to watch 2 dickheads beat the hell out of each other who talk so much shit in a build up. Even if they're like 8 out of 10 quality fighters, they're not as good. Like that was the thing with Connor being as good as he was when he had that. He was as good in the cage as he was out of the cage. Exactly. Now that he's getting just kind of pieced up and stuff, and he looks like he might be past his prime. If he don't carry it on the mic, nobody's going to want to watch him.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to reach that level, you have to. I mean, you have to sell to the whole world. So, like, you have to be a dickhead, or you have to have something that draws people.
But if you don't have millions of eyes, I mean, it'd be better just to be nice and respectful, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's an art form. So, like, you come in as that, like, especially whenever you're like on the like lower promotions, like, you don't want people to not want to work with you. And that's what, I mean, I don't know if that's a cop out, but that's what John Jones was saying about Tom Aspinall. He's like, dude, like, I don't have to make this guy's life change. Like, and that could just be an excuse because like him and Daniel Cormier went at it so much off disrespect. But like, I don't know. Like that's at the end of the day, like, he has a chance to change Tom's life. And if Tom's the one guy that can, overcome John Jones, and it's like, oh shit, his life does change forever.
Yeah, exactly.
What you learn about people, everyone loves a villain. Like, everyone loves a villain story. And like, okay, let's take a real example. Let's say there's a guy from high school, 2 guys from high school you both knew, right? Both of them make it to the UFC, and both of them have fights the same weekend. The guy who was like super nice to you, who you always had good conversations with and helped you out with your homework, that's going to be a guy you're like, yeah, man, I would like to see him fight, man. I'd love to see like what he can do. But the guy who was a dickhead to you, who stole your lunch money and flirted with your girlfriend, that guy, you're like, oh, bro, I'm definitely watching this fight. I hope he gets knocked the fuck out.
That's like the Jake Paul concept.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's like, with Jake Paul, it's like everyone wants to see him get knocked out, but because everyone wants to see him get knocked out, everyone's going to tune in. So whether you're there for Tyson or Jake Paul or the 2 girls that fought before him, you're still going to be watching the fight. Yeah. And that's all they care about. They care about the views, the numbers, the buys.
Yeah, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano's fight was a dog fight.
Dude,
that shit was crazy. Everyone was like, that was the main event. I was like, yeah, it was. Like,
that and the fight before were really good. Yeah. I forgot their names, but the 2
Two before Katie
Yeah.
Taylor and Amanda. Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Those two
And
gentlemen.
honestly, like that's the thing. We talked about Jake and Logan on one of the earlier episodes with the Reckless Boys, talking about like how genius they are and like tapping into social media and like just transitioning from space to space, because they were Vine stars doing childish pranks and dumb shit. And then that platform kind of died because they didn't want to pay the top 10 creators when King Bach organized a group of people to go and be like, hey, we're going to start getting paid. And they're like, yeah, nah. And they're like, okay, fuck this platform. And so like, then they transition to YouTube and they're doing everyday vlogs. Then next thing you know, they're becoming rappers. Now they're boxers.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They're
holy
just keeping
shit.
people
They just
interested.
literally jump from thing to thing and they capitalize I mean, kind of like Floyd. Floyd bought out of his contract from Top Event or Top Notch or whatever it was for $750,000 right before he had a whole entire 10-year plan. And he fought Canelo, he fought Pacquiao, and he fought McGregor over the next 10 years, and he made $750 million. He would have lost so much of that to the promotion that was representing him if he didn't buy out of his contract.
Yeah.
So he started getting to the point where Mayweather Promotions, that's exactly what Jake Paul's doing with Most Valuable Promotions, just following the same footsteps. He's taking the middleman out of it. He's doing all his promotion work himself.
Yeah.
And then getting in touch with Netflix, even though I heard that Netflix was trying to sue them
Yeah, I heard
for
that
some
too.
shit. But the thing was lagging the whole time, so they just counter-sue him, I'm sure. But the fact they tapped into Netflix was crazy, because pay-per-view, somebody's like, I just don't feel like paying $50. I know I'll go somewhere before I sit down and try and subscribe to ESPN Plus and get all of that shit, because it's so much more complicated than it used to be, where nobody really has cable anymore.
Yeah.
So you don't even go and just buy the pay-per-view for $50, $60, $70, whatever. But everybody's got Netflix.
Yeah.
So tuning in with that was a genius.
That was really
Or
smart.
everybody's got somebody else's Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
I think there was they said it. There was more eyes on the Jake Paul Tyson fight than there was on the McGregor Mayweather Pacquiao or Mayweather Canelo.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, they do got subscriptions, but like you said, not everybody has their own account. Some people you got their girlfriend or boyfriend's account or their friends. So I mean, you lose money there, but exposure, just goes a long way in the long run.
Yeah.
So, but we were talking about that X factor. I just want to go back to it. So during COVID, when you're watching UFC, no one in the stands, you could hear everything. But with it now, you got fans back in the stands. What type of talk goes into a fight? You guys are talking to each other. Is it something that's normal, or is it this dude talks way too much, this dude doesn't talk at all, or do you guys talk to each other during the fight?
All right, so you saying the fighters fighting for that promotion?
No, just fighters.
you
fighting
and
The
your
best
opponent,
example,
you
I
and
think,
your
what Ryan's asking, when it was Sean Strickland was fighting somebody, and he's like, "Come on, I'm gonna give you a chance to win." And he hit him, and he popped him. He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
And, I forget who he was fighting, but he was egging him on and stuff like that. And Sean Strickland loves that shit. He feeds off that energy.
Yeah.
He trains like that when he's training. I've seen him train with Alex Pereira. Because after Pereira knocked him out, he went and started training with him. He's like, "Shit, I gotta fucking learn. This guy knocked me the fuck out." And so he is good friends with Alex now and trains with him. But that's how Sean trains. He just trains with that same kind of intensity. So I think what Ryan's saying is would y'all rather fight? And this is more with you not having your fight yet. It's a perfect question for you. When you're in there, would you rather it be just about business, or if the guy starts talking, does that make it easier or harder?
Yeah, no. So I'm just about the business, man. I want to go and I just want to fight. So for example, my last fight in Cleveland, my opponent wasn't saying anything. He was super respectful and humble, but his boys were there and they were talking so much shit, as they should. But the whole time I was just staring at my opponent, because what I learned from playing college basketball is if you let the talk get in your head, it's gonna throw you off of what's important and what's at task. So if my opponent or if his coaches or his girlfriend, whatever, is talking shit to me and I'm worried about that, I'm probably going to be missing something that I could be seeing in the fight.
Right.
So all I'm worried about is just me and him. That's all that matters. That anybody can talk as much as they want. You still have to fight me.
So for you, do you get, is it more like for me, when I was playing sports in high school and I ran college track, once you're in your event or whatever you're dialed in, for me it was a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Everything else got blocked out. Is that something is it that probably on a more intense scale because someone's trying to pretty much kill you?
No, for sure. And what I learned about myself also playing basketball was the more angry I got and let talking get to me, the worse I would always play. So I would just get frustrated and it would just not be good for me. So then I started to learn how to tune everything out and get that tunnel vision that you mentioned and just really just lock in on the moment. And that's what helps me the most.
Yeah.
I can't really speak for a fight, but when I did my jiu-jitsu tournaments, this might not be the most healthy thing to say. I'm going to start by saying it. But like whenever I would go against my opponent, like he said, the tunnel vision, but also it'd be like, bro, I'm in my head so much, but before that bell goes, I'm like, I'm better than you. There's nothing you can do to take me down. If you win, I'm going to make sure you dead by the end of it. Like, it's that kind of mentality. So, like, it wouldn't really matter to me whether I had a crowd or if it was just me and him in the entire building. It's like, I already know that if you win this fight, I'm going to make you work your ass off for it.
Yeah, you got to earn that.
I know. You gonna earn it. Like, I think that also comes from, like, Marine Corps in me too.
Oh yeah.
Cause like, bro, like there was no training that I ever did where they're like, look, man, we're training to fight, to go to war. And so like, if you can't kill this guy and this guy and this guy, at least get this guy. If you can't get 5 guys away from these people, at least get 2. Like, if you can't save your buddy from this many people, at least get 1 down. And that was always my mentality when I step out into that mat. I said, look, I might not be able to take everyone I'm going against, but one of y'all is coming down with me. And that's just how I go against stuff. So
yeah. So what kind of sacrifices have y'all had to make during like pursuing this career, like doing this, especially if you want to take this to where like that's your full-time income? Yeah. What kind of sacrifices does that require past like what we've already mentioned about like maybe missing opportunities to go out and party with your friends or whatever?
Yeah, I would say for me, one of the biggest things that I've missed out on is I used to coach high school basketball, which I love. Like I love being able to help, the younger generation, like fulfill their dreams of playing basketball. Like I've been through it. I played in college. And just like be a better person, be a better athlete. But it was taking up too much of my time because I do still have to work and make money. So I couldn't quit one of my like bill paying jobs, So I had to figure it out. It was either stop fighting or not take it as serious or not coach. So I did have to give up coaching. I still coach a little bit, but not for high school and not as like often as I was. Yeah. So that does suck a little bit just because I love basketball and I love like helping the kids. But it's for the better. I love fighting a little bit more,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. How about you?
I honestly, I've gained more than I've lost, but I would say one thing, and I think AJ would agree with me, is like when you talk about this with other people who don't do it, they don't understand you.
Yeah. Like
my friends who I was in the Marine Corps with, who I deployed with, the people who I went to college with, the people I've had very profound life experiences and moments with don't understand this. And not to say they think I'm crazy for doing it, but like they just don't understand the concept of why someone would go to a gym, pay to get hit, pay to get choked, pay to get submitted, pay to get humbled. And it's hard to tell people, say, look, man, like before this, I thought it was something. And after that, I learned I wasn't. And after that, I learned I could be something. And so this has given me so much more confidence, and it's given me the ability to walk into a room and not be afraid of anybody. Not saying I need to be, but like there's nothing like going somewhere and knowing that no matter what happens, you can defend yourself and the people who you're with. So I really like when you ask, what have I sacrificed? I mean, really time and laundry.
Definitely laundry, bro.
So sometimes I come home.
Yeah, don't get Merce out of there. Fuck.
Yeah. Sometimes like my body sore, or come home with a black eye or a busted nose. But it's like, dude, that's the game. Like, if you're gonna do this sport, that's the game, man. Like, you're gonna have days where you get hurt, not injured. There's a difference. Yeah. But like you'll have days where you get hurt. You'll have days where like you show up, you're tired, and I don't feel like putting all this in, but you are gonna gain so much more than you lose. Yeah. That like I don't even really pay attention to the losses. Like,
and that's the part of it I love, man. Is like you're just really challenging yourself, like in everything that you do. Like whether like for me, I've changed my diet so much with fighting. Like I eat clean 95% of the time. Like you could ask Dev, like they'll offer me like slices of pizza at work or like candy or something. I'm like always turning it down, and people are like, "Oh, why are you turning it down?" It's just like the discipline aspect. It just makes you like so much more locked in, and it feels good to like just stay on track and be focused, and not let those distractions get in and take over.
Because I mean, honestly, a mental discipline and physical discipline are going to run hand in hand too. Like when you're getting hit and you're like, "Fuck, dude, this sucks." At the end of the fight, like especially if it's like a championship fight, you're in the 4th or 5th round. You're like, "Dude, I got to dig deep because if not, I'm going to think about this for months to come."
Exactly.
And it's like if the principle of that is like so easy to just turn down a piece of pizza or a cheat meal or whatever, like then that helps build your mental fortitude so that you can dig deep when you're in that competition, that whether it's a jiu-jitsu competition or an MMA fight.
That's a really good point that a lot of people don't get when you're doing it. It's like, yes, I know one slice of pizza isn't going to hurt me, like physically, but it does make that mental difference. I'm like, I was able to stay strong, not do it. So
yeah, when I was in high school, our head football coach, he instilled in us mental toughness. I mean, it was up on the wall and, big letters.
Yeah.
It just, that mental toughness, and you didn't realize it then, being that young in high school. But, my age now and, doing this, it's not the same as, your mental toughness of, making sure you eat right, make sure you're training, make sure you're just, doing things that when your fight comes, then you're prepared, you're fully prepared. Like for us, it's like, staying on top of this, being diligent about, networking, get people in, stuff like that. So people like that have that mental toughness, that have that drive are people who succeed. And some people like, oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna post, video. They don't blow up and that on that video or the 2 after that they make and they quit. Yeah. That's not mental toughness. And
exactly.
Like you're doing, both of you are going to that mental toughness training as you do, eating like you do. It takes a discipline.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really realize that, but the people that are in it, that you guys are,
exactly.
That.
Yeah, because Quay's episode took 45 hours to edit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, because it was like 2 hour and 18-minute episode. We had to cut it down to an hour and 42 because that was like the lowest it could get. Because like as I was like considering feedback while editing it, I was like, damn, dude, like it's going to be hard for people to watch 2 hours of anything if it's not a movie, if it's not consistently like capturing people's attentions and stuff. It's just like people sitting on a couch talking about,
for sure,
the industry of DJing and stuff. So I cut it down and tried to get out like dead space. But yeah, like that's what Ryan's saying is like it takes so much time because we don't do this full time. So like being able to do what we do full time, come home and then still be like, damn, dude, do I want to sit on the couch and be lazy bones or do I want to get to work and then create something? Because we just got 4 vlogs out in 4 days and it was like that was the repetition. Go to work, come home, edit vlog.
Yeah.
There's a couple of nights where we literally didn't get to bed till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It was like, that's what's got to get done.
It sucks. Like during it, like it's tough. It's a sacrifice, but like, I'm sure y'all feel better.
Oh yeah. At the end,
like,
I was like, awesome. That's our plan is to, get y'all's vlog out. But because the thumbnail takes like 24 to 36 hours to come out. As soon as the thumbnail's done, I want the editing already be done. NutriPrime tomorrow, be able to get that done. And then both vlogs out by Sunday.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Sunday night. So
like, going back into like, focusing on the actual like fighting. So, Khabib, he's a grappler, he's a wrestler. McGregor, mostly striker. Like what would you consider as like your style, or are you just like all around based?
Yeah. So, I mean, I started MMA 4 years ago, really. So I'm mainly a striker now, but I still consider myself a rookie in the sense that like this sport is so deep. There's so much to learn. Like I consider myself a striker, but compared to other like real strikers, I'm a nobody. So I would say I like striking more, but I'm trying to work on being well-rounded because obviously wrestling is the best base to have.
Yeah, it's the best discipline.
So I'm trying to work on my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu more because that's way more like important to say.
Yeah.
But
so what would you say yours was?
That's a funny question for me because like I love them both so much, but jiu-jitsu is my home. But striking for me is like I love anything that can keep me mentally engaged. And one thing that people might not consider when you're talking about like striking is like everything is a chess game. Mm-hmm. Like everything, like every step I make with my feet, everything I do with my hands, even my eyes, like I might be looking sort of, but I'm not even planning on strike. I just want you to look where I'm looking so I can throw that strike and hit you where I actually want to hit you. I like that because I'm constantly thinking. Jiu-jitsu for me feels more intuitive. Like I know I can feel when your leg or your arm goes somewhere. I know where to put my hand or my leg to defend. But striking, I'm always thinking. I'm like always watching. I'm always anticipating. So I think for me personally, it just keeps me more engaged and keeps my head going more like 1,000 miles a minute.
Yeah,
I say striking is definitely the most fun. There's nothing like just piecing somebody up.
Yeah.
That's
And honestly, even getting hit is kind of fun. Like I remember my last fight, I got that elbow, and I like felt my blood leaking. I was like, let's fucking get it. I was like, this is what I love. Like this is what I'm here for.
and see that's the type of mentality I'm talking about. Is because some people, or I would say 90% of the population, they start feeling that they get hit, they start feeling that, they quit.
Yeah.
You different type of effect is the opposite effect. It kicked you like, that adrenaline.
I'll just be a bitch about it later in the hospital. Like, God damn, this shit hurts. But during the fight, we're getting through it.
So like going through that training for like months and then turn around fighting and winning. What is that like? It has to feel just like exemplary. Like, what does that feeling feel like? Can you describe it?
It's kind of tough to describe. I will say, like, after my last fight was the best I've felt because I was getting beat up for a little bit. Like, I was challenged. So, like, I just remember, like, talking to my coach and my stepdad after, like, telling them that was my favorite fight, like, that I've done. And it's just because, like, I proved to myself, like, all the things that I thought were true in training. Like, I like go on my runs. I always finish my workouts. I'm like, all right, I'm tough. You don't know until you're really in there. Like, I didn't know I could take a elbow and like continue fighting because I never had to. Nope. So being able to like actually go through it and be able to like finish that fight and prove to myself, like, all right, you are built for this. That was really cool.
That's awesome.
There's a saying that goes around the industry that's been said 1,000 times in UFC. It's like everybody's tough until they get hit in the mouth. Yeah. Because it's like training in the gym, like, yeah, there's sparring and stuff, but like you're going at 50% or 75%, depending on where you are in your training camp. But when you're in the fight, like that cage locks, you're like, all right, this is everything. Yeah. Everything that went into the last 3 months or however long your camp was is online now. And like Devon was saying, you might show up and be like, damn, dude, I'm flat as fuck tonight. Like nothing's going my way. Yeah. Like my timing's not right. The distance, I'm not gauging distance well. Nothing's going right. And that just ends up not being your night. And hopefully it's not a world championship fight.
I want to take a second to like speak on something that you said is like, regular people. Before I started training, and I have this conversation regularly because I see things when I bounce that just make me come back to this. But like before I started training, I would go out and I would see guys try to start fights, get in fights, instigate fights. And after training, I see the same people do the same stuff, or the same type of people do the same stuff. But now my understanding is different. Now my understanding is, okay, you don't understand what a punch actually feels like. Yeah. You don't understand what that's going to feel like to yourself when you hit, because that hurts.
Yeah, your knuckle's going to fucking sting, bro.
Yeah. But also, like, people are a lot more fragile than we believe. Like I think most men overestimate their ability to take punches and to punch. Mm-hmm. And you don't really see it until you're working like we work at Red Dog. And you see guys trying to fight each other. And you just see it's like, bro, like these guys are strong. And even though they're sloppy and there's no technique and there's no like clarity to what they're doing, if any of y'all hit someone the wrong way and you fall the wrong way, the fight's not just over. That person can be dead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That person that might be permanent brain injury. They may never live their life the same. You got to go to jail. And it's like, bro, it's not worth it. Well, the biggest thing fighting has taught me and has given to me is perspective. Because it's like, yes, man, we're at a point where it's like, if something happens, there's things I can do to people. There's things he can do to people. But it's not worth it. Yep. It's like you want to save that shit for emergencies. Yeah. Or if you're actually fighting people in a cage, in a ring, in an octagon.
Because I promise, when you train, you don't even want to fight out at bars. Bro, you're like, goddamn, I'm tired, dude. I just fucking trained all day. I'm not trying to scrap out here.
I think it was either you or Christian where I was like, yeah, man, like I was out at Jimmy's the other night and this guy comes up to me. He's like, yeah, my friend dared me to come over here and try to fight you. I was looking, I was like, bro, it's like, bro, I got a baddie right here. I got my friend right here. I got a drink in my hand. I'm like, bro, I really don't want to do this with you. And it's weird because I think as men, like we have that natural instinct to want to like release aggression, to be rough, to roughhouse with our friends and enemies. Yeah. But it's like, bro, there's just no gain to it. And I remember John Salter said something to me once. He's like, once you understand how to put people in certain positions and what you can do to them, you will never actually want to do it. Yeah. You don't want to do that shit.
No. Yeah. And speaking of that, well, one, most of the people that come to Wrightsville Beach, they don't know every single one of these bouncers do some type of MMA training.
Yeah, for the most part, a lot of us do.
That's why I said like 8 out of 10, because I was mentioning that to Quay and Housefire. Like we saw back in 2022, there was a guy, I haven't seen him bounce there since, but he was like about C's height. But he was like, he had just like, I think he was tatted all up and stuff like that. But like, I literally rarely ever seen him. I haven't seen him since. But he was, some guy was trying to pick a fight with him, like right at the door, like next to Ivan and stuff. And C was out there. It was like closing time. He's like, dude, that's not the guy you want to fucking talk to.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, no, fuck it, come on. And they went right there to like right where like you pass Sweetwater, you turn right before 22. And the guy like literally got dropped with the overhand right. And then the guy like actually took his punch and he got up, and his boy was setting him up for failure because he was gassing. He was like, yo, come on, get up, don't take that shit. Whatever his name was. He was like, Scott. And then like the guy got up, Scott got knocked the fuck out again. And when he got dropped the second time, then he definitely didn't want it. Like even as the like overhand right was coming in, he like started to like fucking like cover up and like just like it didn't like fully connect, but he was done after that.
Yeah.
And like the friend that set him up and his girl were literally like carry him down like into the abyss, like towards the beach. And I'm just like, fuck.
The girls are the worst ones because they're it's like, are you just gonna let him hit you like that?
Yeah. But dude, also for guys that want to fight out at bars, not only does it suck to punch and like get hit, then I don't think people understand how like tired you get grappling.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you start
Dude,
wrestling
quickly.
with somebody for 30, 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Most average
Saying,
dudes are going to be
fatigue will make a
fucking,
coward out of anyone.
Yeah.
When your fucking muscles fill up with blood and stuff and you literally can't even move.
Exactly.
Like, fuck that, dude.
It's going to be like dream punching.
Yep.
It's like that one dude who we threw out. It was a while ago, but it was him and a group of other guys, and we got him outside, and he's on the cement. And Steve had one guy, Christian had another guy, and the guy who I had, I'm like knee on belly with him. I'm feeling him squirm. And I'm like, I'm so used to going with people who do this all the time. Now I'm expecting more of a fight. within like 4 seconds, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm just looking down. I was like, wow, you're a pussy.
Yeah, and those guys, man, I mean, I couldn't do what you guys do in the bounce and shit, man. I couldn't do it. I
Yeah, it takes
Dealing with
almost
drunk people when y'all are sober, that's gotta
Yeah.
suck, dude. Because like people can go out and like drink a couple of, like we don't ever get like sloshed or
Yeah.
whatever like that, but like people get so fucked up and you're like, dude, like what are you doing? And like the funny thing is that sometimes it's not even the guys, it's the girl. Like I saw one, I think it was you were like throwing some girl out and she was trying to like finish her beer like as she was getting
Yeah.
like lightly carried to the door. It was like
One thing
what
I
the
hate is
fuck?
people like always think we're being dicks too, just because like we're
Yeah.
bouncers, and they expect like most bouncers to like just be mean and like just be in a bad mood, and that's why we're saying things. But like I'll tell somebody a rule nicely, asking them respectfully not to do something, and they just make the biggest deal out of it.
Yeah.
Like
Why
question
can't I
everything.
stand here?
Yeah.
The girls are. Well,
Oh,
you're not a girl.
dude, got to ask y'all a question. 2 questions that y'all may or may not know the answer to. But I know anybody that watches this that has gone to Red Dogs will be familiar with these 2 principles. So y'all have 2 rules. One is guys can't wear sunglasses, yet girls can. Because I've wore shades in there before. Even though like I have been to Red Dogs, I'm a regular. Like I won't anymore because I know it's a rule now. But like girls wear shades in there. Like guys, they want to be able to see your eyes.
Yeah.
Like
That's
is it,
not,
like,
actually not a rule anymore.
Oh, is it not?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm kind of happy about.
Yeah, 'cause I was like, damn,
that
dude,
was always
fuck
tough
it.
for us. Like, especially like you go tell a girl she could wear, or you don't have to tell a girl anything. Then you tell a guy that she could do it, or that he can't do it, and it's just like that makes it hard. Like, there's no argument there. It doesn't really make sense on why
Yeah,
one
it
can
didn't.
wear sunglasses and not. The ledge rule.
The
is
ledge, that
what
was
you guys
the
about to
second
ask next? That one makes sense. We think it's like this fucking creeps out all the time.
Yeah.
Girls get annoyed at shit.
So you want them to
If-
have a safe place to go.
If there's because not every girl wants to make a scene out of the creep. Not like they
Yeah.
don't want them kicked out or like they just want to get away from them. So like that's a spot they can get up, and that dude can't follow them up there. Like,
Damn,
'cause
that
they'll
is
be
a
like,
good
"Yo,
rule.
get your
That
ass
actually
down."
makes a lot of sense.
Also, when I walk at the bar, I'm not trying to see your ugly ass. Like,
That's all
I don't want you next to me.
when I
This
walk in the
fool
bar
ass
and I
fool.
see this ledge, if I see a ledge full of pretty women, I'm like, wow, this is a cool place. But if I see one dude on that ledge, I'm like, bro, they boiling sausages up in here.
Also, dudes are more likely to fight, so I'm not trying to have to drag a dude from a ledge.
From a top ledge, yeah.
Like fucking fireman carry.
You know
his
what's
ass.
weird though? So as soon as you walk into Red Dogs, the ledge to the right, like when you start to round, people used to stand up there a couple years ago. Now they don't. Like,
yeah,
is it not?
that used to have another ledge under it. So now
Is it not? Oh shit, you're right. It doesn't.
Now it's just like a cup ledge, like you
Yeah.
put your cups up there. But it used to have one that was like more like ground level.
Yeah.
So people could step up there and stand on there.
You're right. Yeah, it doesn't.
But yeah, now we just don't let people do it because everybody would be sitting on there. It'd probably break at some
Yeah,
point.
and it did. I think, like, I mean, obviously, like I said it in the last vlog, I was like joking around with Sarah. We were going back over there to the Edge Talk to Cali, and I was like, Sarah doesn't want to get through through the fucking maze that is Red Dogs. Because
Yeah.
like when it's body to body in there, it's like, damn, dude, like it's worse than New York traffic.
Dude, yeah, it's terrible.
Yep.
It's pretty bad.
Being a bouncer's lit there because you could just say, excuse me, act like you're doing some shit that's important and you're not. You're going to get a sip of water
You
or
just have to
something.
say it with a firm enough voice. And you have to have your body gestures right.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me.
Now, do people try? I mean, y'all are big as fuck, so I doubt it. But do people try and like pick fights with y'all just because they're like, oh, dude, this is a bouncer? Because like you were probably not working at Jimmy's that night, right? You were just like there.
Bro, I was there. Like
That's what I'm saying. But when y'all are working, do people try and purposely start shit?
Dude, I remember one night some dudes will go out of their way just like trying to talk to you and get a reaction out of you because they think most bouncers are dickheads, like I said. But I had one dude I was kicking out just because he was too hammered. And like as I'm kicking him down the stairs, he's like looking at me. He's like, dude, I would fuck you up. You have no idea. Like talking all this shit to me. I'm just smiling at him. I'm like, bro, you have no idea. Like this would not end well for you. Yeah. For the most part, we don't have that many guys do it though. Like Wrightsville Beach is a cool scene. So I think that's why we don't.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I mean, like, you know, when we were going all the time, like 2022, see more people get kicked out, more scenes happen. Like, you know, the story you was talking about with the guy getting hit. Yeah. And like, but I mean,
that's all entitlement though, bro. Like, the majority of people who we've thrown out, that I've thrown out, it's either we're not even really kicking out because you did anything, you're just too drunk. And it's like, you shouldn't be anywhere if you're too drunk. But then the other half of that is like people who don't know how to drink or who don't know that they shouldn't drink. Like, you two are good people. Every time I've seen you guys out, y'all are always respectable. Y'all engage in conversation. Like, we talk, we dap up, how you been, blah, blah, blah. Yep. And it's like, it's simple. I've seen y'all have, like, plenty of drinks. Nothing ever came of it. Yeah. But other people, it's like they'll drink and they get angry. They get violent. They get, like, vindictive and sad.
Yeah, all three of the emotions.
All the things that they've been pushing down comes up. And so when you have to tell people, like, hey, man, look, you're doing too much. I need you to leave. I don't want to fight anybody. Like, I really don't. I don't want to have to put my hands on you. I don't even want to have to talk to you crazy. It's like, bro, look, you're doing too much. You got to leave. You can't be touching people like that. You got to leave. Mm-hmm. Yep. And for some reason, and it's happening more and more with, like, the younger crowd. It's like they're so used to not being told they can't do stuff that certain behaviors that we all know is inappropriate. Yeah. Like, you can't do that. Now they're like, oh, well, I'm going to fight you. And then when they inevitably lose the fight, they decide they want to sue.
Right.
I feel like everyone takes things like too personal too. Like I'll kick somebody out for being too drunk and they'll just like think I'm the one that really cares about how drunk they're. Like, I don't give a fuck how drunk you are, but my bartender could lose their job if you go outside and do some dumb shit because you're like been overserved.
Yeah, like drive a car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why we kick you out because you're too drunk. It's not because I'm like, oh, this dude's fucking hammered. Let me just ruin his night. Like,
It's like there's rules where there's establishments. Like, you guys have this podcast, okay? So, like, if you had, say you guys get to the point where, you will get to this point. I can see it. But y'all get to the point where y'all have employees and people under you. Mm-hmm. Do you want people coming into your space who don't respect your space, have no regard for your space, like very intentionally destroy things or sabotage things? No, you're going to say, you got to get the fuck up out of here. And it's the same with a business or a bar. Say, look, you can come in here, have a good time. You can even do some wild shit low key. But you can't come in here, throw beer bottles. Right. You can't come in here, stick your hand down girls' pants. You can't come in here, shove people. You can't threaten the bouncer. You're going to fight them.
Yeah, just be aware of like who's around you too. Like some dudes will be jumping up around, having a good time. I'll go up to them and be like, dude, I'm not trying to kill y'all's vibe. I know y'all are having fun. Yeah. It's a busy ass bar, so don't be jumping around like swinging your arms. There's people around you that don't want you to do that to them.
Right, and then you got little people like Sarah. She's 4'9", like, and that was one of the things to thank you. Like she was down there. That was like Saturday. It was me, Vaughn, Ja, Milo, Julio. There was a bunch of us over there, like towards like right under where you stand all the time. And I was like, where the fuck is Sarah? And like we were like trying to look for her because like 4'9" Sarah, you know. And and I look over and I see like her standing right next to you. And so like whenever I went over there and got her, I think she like told me like later that night, like, yeah, Dev was so cool. He like pulled me up there like next to him, so like I wouldn't get trampled. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
My first memory of Sarah is so funny because I remember someone was like tapping me on my arm. And I was like, I turned like, and I see this hand like, and my first like down here. I'm like, oh shit! Hey.
Is this a child in Red Dogs?
How'd you get in here? That's funny as hell.
That's hilarious.
It's funny how much attention she gets from like all the girls. Like there was a girl that was like literally maybe 5'2", so she's not like tall by any means. It's not like my girl was like 5'9", but like she was like 5'2", and she was like, "Oh my god, you're so cute!" And then like, her and Sarah just started like dancing and shit.
That's funny. So funny.
Yeah. But no, like our place, all-time favorite place is, Red Dogs. That's where we've been going to forever. And, even our parents went there back, because it's been around since, 75?
75.
Yeah.
Yep. Next year's a 50th anniversary of Red Dogs. That's crazy.
Yeah, kind of like a legacy place to go at this point.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. Actually.
Yeah. So, what do you guys, have coming up? Do you have, anything coming up? Or, you planning on, hey, I'm going to start looking for something? What do you guys got going on?
You go first?
Yeah, so like we said earlier in the podcast, I'm at this point now where it's I have more faith in my skill set, and I'm training with really good guys who continuously push me to do better. So this upcoming year, I'm thinking I want to do a fight in the summer if possible. I don't want to fight when it's cold. When it's cold, I want to be inside and being fat and happy. But when the summer comes, I think I'd really like to do a fight just to test myself, just to see how I feel.
So, actually, MMA or
MMA.
Okay.
Just to see how I feel, man. And it's to people who want to see me fight, who's asked if I'm going to fight, who've been like, hey, man, I think you do good. It's look, man, I know for myself I'm not going to make this a career more than likely. But because I train it so much and because I love it so much, it's I don't think it makes sense for me to not do one sometime soon.
You always wonder what if. That would suck.
Yeah, it is. Look, I can do this fight, but okay, I know I can kick people in the face. Good. Solve that.
Yeah. So, do you think, possibly it could surprise you? You do that one fight, and it's it just, something just clicks in.
A new hunger. You're like, oh, fuck, I need this now.
That's exactly what's going to
happen. I'll let you guys in on a little secret about myself. So, everything that I've done in my life, at one point I said I wouldn't do, and then I'm really glad I did it. I always said I wouldn't go to college. Went to college. Always said I wouldn't go into the military. Went to the military. Always said I wouldn't work with kids. Now I train kids. And everything that I said I wouldn't do that I did, I loved it. Yeah. So it's I'm not going to 100% rule it out. I'm saying I probably won't, but who knows, dude? Who knows?
Yeah. Shit. So what about you? I know that you had one that was coming up 8 days from now. Is that still on the books, or did something happen to it?
No, yeah, that one, that opponent, he pulled out. So he's ducking. But I have that happen pretty often. Actually, it's hard to find heavyweights on the regional circuit. And how it works is some guys don't think it's worth the money. Some of these guys just want to fight to get paid, and they don't understand what we were saying before. There's not that much money in this. You have to actually really love the sport.
Yeah.
So once they get to that point, they're like, oh shit, I really got to go fight this dude. They're just pulling out. Not everybody's as serious as you would think. But I am trying to make it a career. I'm trying to go to the UFC. I do have a fight January 18th all the way in Arkansas against a solid opponent. I think it's going to be a really good fight. He's got some crisp striking. He's a decent wrestler, so I think it'll be a good challenge, kind of similar to my last fight. Mm-hmm. But those are the fights I love. That's what makes training so much more fun, to have that little bit of fear, not scared of somebody, but you're all right, he could beat me. So I got to make sure every day I'm doing what I need to be doing. And then I'm trying to be as active as possible since of all the pullouts. So February, there's a card in Charlotte that I'm going to try to hop on. I just don't have an opponent for that yet. And then in March, they're actually going to do a card in Eden, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Nice.
And there's another guy named Tommy Cozy who's fighting on that, and he's another up-and-comer. So we're both looking to be kind of headliners on that card. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully by the summertime, the goal is to be on the UFC contender series. So basically just getting a tryout. And yeah, but obviously it's one fight at a time. So I'm focused on January 18th right now.
Nice.
But,
hell yeah. Well, dude, like I said, as many as the fights as we can come to, we're going to come to it, vlog it, interview you and do all that kind of stuff.
Hell
and
yeah.
you can just utilize that to recycle that content for all your stuff. Because
for sure,
as we talked about this episode, marketability is going to be big. And the more that you have to kind of set yourself aside outside the cage, obviously inside the cage, set yourself, apart from your competition as well. And the more you win, the more you dominate in your space. But the more that you have to be able to market yourself, that'll help happen as well.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I need help with, because I'm not big in the self-promotion thing. I've always hated it. I'm not going to ask anybody to come do shit for me, really. That's
we got you, brother.
Yeah, I just want to fight.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just this right now. You guys are helping us, and and we're helping each other out here.
Yeah, exactly.
And by us going to your fight, that's more content for us. That's more content for you. So everybody wins in this situation.
Exactly.
So yeah,
and we have a fun ass time too.
Yep. Yeah, and we're super excited because we've never been to one. We know what was it called, the Rocks downtown or
yeah. But you're talking about the bar back in the day they used to
yeah.
The Rocks.
And we knew they had fights going on there, but we never actually been to an actual one. We love it to death.
Yeah.
We had actually never been to one. I'm was mad. I think it was like last year, UFC had a fight night in Raleigh, and I missed it and saw it like a couple days after, and was like, damn, because I would have definitely went to that. But
I'm pissed because I could have been fighting fucking tomorrow in Myrtle, which would have been awesome. Because usually when I do fights in Myrtle, like all my friends come out there. It's only an hour away, so we just stay out there for the night, like get an Airbnb or something.
Yeah.
Party, obviously have fun. It's
that's what we literally talked about. What did we talk about on the Reckless Boys pod or something like that? Because we knew you had a fight coming up, but we didn't know when. We're like, yeah, dude, after this fight, we're gonna be going out. AJ might not be working that night, but we're still going to Red Dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah,
that's literally what we do.
Yep. So yeah, definitely we'll come to every fight that we can. Maybe even look at flights for go to the Arkansas one if the dates work. Because my dog's so like specific. He's at Ryan's partner right now, but like my dog, like he has like sleep anxiety and stuff like that. So he'll like bite in his sleep unless he's sleeping with either me or at Ryan's. And so like finding people to watch him, unless my ex like is available to watch him, then like like that
kind of tough.
Yeah. So if we can get like daycare for the dogs, then we'll definitely fucking come out
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it definitely you guys shoot us your like social media handles.
Yeah.
And what we're gonna do is with these guys, we're going to post their social media handles in the description below. So you guys make sure you guys go and check out their pages, like, share, subscribe, follow all these guys, and keep up with what they're doing, what they got going on.
And so I have a final question for y'all. It's more of like a fun like question, but like if you could fight anybody. So we'll use it with you since you haven't had your fight yet. Your question will be different than yours. Yours is if you could fight anybody. Like mostly probably like a famous person from any era. So like even if it was like, someone back in the day, who would it
doesn't
be?
even have to be like MMA, just like any combat sports athlete.
You'd be like Martha Stewart.
Give me Paula Dean. Nah, I would love to scrap with Muhammad Ali. I feel like that would just be, he's my favorite boxer ever, favorite fighter, probably favorite athlete ever. So to just be able to experience that greatness around me and be able to fight him would suck during it because he'd kick my ass, but it would be just fun to say that happened.
Yeah. All right, how about you, Dev? Who would be your favorite to fight, or hypothetically, as your first fight, but or who would you like to train with? Anybody ever to train with?
Dude, Stephen Thompson, man. Like most of my style is based off of him. I just admire him so much because he's so fluid and he's such a good guy, and I just love I love people who make it like artistic. Yeah, I love people who make it like a very visual appeal. So like Stephen Thompson for sure, and second after him would be Adesanya.
Oh yeah, yep, Adesanya.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not coming out of those fights okay.
Yeah, and honestly, and that like kind of just like a little side comment that Adesanya, he like idolized.
Anderson Silva, and then followed him. That's where honestly, that when I read this question, I was like, that I'm gonna relate it back to this. Ironic that you said
something
that.
more on like I would love to fight like Stipe since he's still alive. That'd be somebody that would be like
the handing of the
that
torch
kind of thing.
Man,
that's exactly what the Adesanya.
He just fought
let him rest.
I'm calling Stipe out. This is the call out.
But it's crazy, and that's one of the things. Okay, Mike was 61, Mike Tyson 61,
60, yeah,
but like Jake got to fight somebody he didn't even grow up watching. His dad did.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like when his dad broke the news, because that was his dad's favorite fighter. He like bought all the pay-per-views. He watched him growing up. He's like, Dad, I'm fighting Mike Tyson. And he was just like, Paul was like, what?
I remember that.
Like, Greg Paul was like, what? My son's fighting like guy I used to idolize and shit. It's like, that's crazy. So
yeah,
it is.
In that regard, like I respect. Like he was able to make that fight. I mean, actually counted on Mike's record, and that was actually Mike's idea that came out later. So I mean, just something like that. That's a cool question we want to ask you guys, because it's just like for me, like me, I would probably get my ass beat. Like I would love to fight Conor because I idolized him. Ever since he started in the UFC. So it's it's just a fun question to ask. So.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then the last thing I think we'll ask is, what's any advice for potential viewers that are maybe interested in getting into it? Like what would be your number one piece of advice?
Man, I say for anybody wanting to get in MMA or just anybody wanting to do something and like chase a goal, it's just be super focused. You got to be extremely like committed. Consistency is like the biggest part. And one thing I had to change recently is not be focused on like just being driven by motivation, because the reality is you're not always motivated. There's going to be days you don't want to do shit. It's about just being disciplined and like doing it on the days that you're not motivated when you don't want to. It sucks, but you just got to get it done. And That's what I would have on that.
Yeah, that's great advice.
I'd say just jump into the fire, man. You're gonna be scared. Like, it's a fun idea until that first day. Like, that first day is like, am I really doing this? And you're gonna look at yourself and be like, am I cut out for this? Am I made for this? What if they laugh at me? What if I look stupid? And it's like, look, man, the thing that really got me leveled was understanding that every person who I idolized as a fighter, every single one of them, they had a day one too. Their day one might have been when they were 5. Some of them, their day ones when they were 15. Some of them 26. My day one was when I was 24. So it's like, look, don't say it's too late. Don't be afraid. Like, you're gonna make friends. You're gonna make connections that are gonna last you the rest of your life. You're gonna learn a skill that's gonna benefit you the rest of your life. So just jump in, man, and just embrace the fire.
Yeah. To piggyback off that, man, just it's about your journey. So like, what other people think will never matter. Like, you're doing something that you're trying to, like, it's personal growth. So it's all about you, and just be focused on that.
Yeah.
And like, one last comment, like, directed towards the viewers. I don't know which cameras to the viewers.
So yours will be that one.
That one.
Hi, how are you? How you doing? No, so I what I would say, don't let the time frame influence your decision either. Like, you can say, well, it's going to take me a few years to get good. Well, in a few years will have still gone by. You see what I'm saying? It's like, if you say, well, it's going to take me 3-4 years to get, like, really good at jiu-jitsu or really good at striking. Okay, no matter what you do in that time is still going to go by. So if it's something that you want to start, just do it. And, like, you're going to look stupid. You're going to look bad. You're going to be scared. People are going to intimidate you a little bit, not intentionally, but it's worthwhile. Like, the scariest things that you are facing right now when deciding to start, on the other side of that is going to be the best shit ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you'll surprise yourself, man. Like, I've surprised myself so much, just like in terms of like just learning about myself, realizing I am actually extremely tough and like able to be disciplined and things like that. So, like you said, just go for it.
And I feel like, you know, me not being in it, but, you know, you guys can say if I'm wrong, I don't think I am, but by saying this is like, I feel like the MMA and, you know, the fighting community is more of an accepting community when new people want to come in and try it, because
100%.
Yeah.
100%, because we know how difficult it is, man. Like, we know what it feels like to be that new kid in the gym, and you think everyone is just kind of judging you because you suck. And it's like, no, bro, like the little girl who I train right now, she gets so nervous because she sees people doing all these cool moves and like their footwork is good and their head work is good. She's like, oh, they're judging me because I don't look like that. It's like, no, everyone in here wants you to be better than them. Yeah. They want you to succeed. No one in here is hoping that you fail. Nobody. And that's going to be for anyone who starts. Like, bro, you go into a gym. If you're in a gym where people say, man, I hope he never gets good. I hope he never gets his punches cleaner. I hope he never gets his question mark kick high. Fuck that gym and fuck those people. Yeah. Because those aren't
the toxic environment.
Those aren't good people.
And that's probably like the one out of like a dozen gyms. Like, I mean, yeah. The normal, my tattoo artist, he actually had a tragic accident when he was 19. He only has one arm, and he started training. Yep. He was a tattoo artist. He's done all this shit, and he started training in the gym like a few years back. And he was like, the way that like when me and him were in a tattoo session, he started like talking about it and stuff. It was like more like he was like a little bit like kind of hesitant to like get into it because of like only having one arm and like already being at a disadvantage with that, and like, you know, where am I going to take it? Like, he just loved like the art form of it. Like, he loved the exercise. He loved like being able to challenge himself, push himself, but everyone was so supportive. And I think he trained at Salty Dog.
Yeah. He was one of my main training partners.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, small world, man.
Right. A lot of people supportive in that. Yep,
yeah,
sure.
I hate it because he moved, but I was gonna
just moved
like
to Texas.
I got a sleeve on this arm, but I'm thinking about getting my leg done, and I was looking for it because the guy that did my arm, he ended up moving back to Jersey, so I was gonna get his Zach to do it, and he moved, so still on the lookout for someone who wants to do that. If you live in
scaring all your tattoo artists.
I don't know, because I was an 8-hour session the first time, and
Yeah, me and Zach, all my stuff between the whole chest piece I have and this whole arm, Zach did everything in 22 hours.
Am I the only person in here with virgin skin?
Yep. But dude, just like MMA, dude, first time you get a tattoo, you're like, fuck, gotta go back. And where's the next
It's
session?
nothing like a tattoo, dude. That shit is so addicting.
It is.
It's like, no, I'm pure.
Yeah, it's just something therapeutic about it. It's just something, and it's addicting. And as soon as you do it, you're like, damn, like I gotta get 3 more.
Yeah,
But,
literally.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be certain areas where it sucks. Like you're like, dude, why the fuck did I sign up for this again? And then like once like you're starting to see like gauging the session going on and like it's getting closer to finishing. And then like a week after, 2 weeks after it's healed, you're like, fuck, I need to go ahead and schedule that next session.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll run out of skin.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I love it. I can't wait to get my next one. But guys, like we definitely appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for having us.
For real.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like we've told all the guests, this is, I mean, we're building quantity. So anytime y'all want to come on, just hit us up and we'll, even if it ends up being an episode where we've already covered like, the background and the information about y'all. So we're just covering a list of random ass topics and y'all are just on, shoot
If you
the
guys
shit
ever want
with
to wake
us.
up and talk about Red Dogs too, or more.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
because we
straight
barely
MMA,
like
for
covered
sure.
Red Dogs really kind of in this episode in comparison because we wanted to make it definitely more about MMA with y'all,
Yeah, for
y'all
sure.
doing that. And, but yeah, definitely as familiar as we are with Red Dogs, it'd be nice to dial in and discover some of the secrets behind Red Dogs and shit, the inside
there's,
scoops and
The
whatnot.
secret potion in the fishbowl.
Yeah, and then Java was telling us, I mean, he had like they make tequila fish bowls too. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's love that place. We'll never probably stop going. Probably like
Be there tomorrow
75
night.
and-
Right.
Yeah,
Hell
we'll
yeah.
be there tomorrow night. So
I'll be watching the fights on my phone.
yeah, hell yeah,
You guys wanna
all the
walk
time. Probably come stand next to you and see.
Every Saturday night.
Yeah.
Summers
Cool,
at
dude.
Red Dogs, the best time. Best
Oh,
time of
the
year.
best.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It is. It really is. I love it all. Never stop going.
But yeah, guys. So we really appreciate everybody watching. Again, all their social media is going to be below. Go support them. AJ's got some fights coming up. He's going to stay very active in 2025, and definitely if y'all have ever seen any of his stuff, he's a very good fighter. So definitely going to be entertaining to watch on his journey as he continues to fight towards getting in the UFC.
But yeah, guys, like Trey just said, go follow these guys on their socials, give them support. And, if you live close, we'll announce you guys fight. I know that you're, planning on getting one, scheduled. So, once, everything's solidified, if, the January thing does work out, we'll end up shouting that out as well.
Oh, yeah.
But if anything comes up before that, just let us know.
Yeah,
We'll
keep y'all
shout that
posted.
out as well. But yeah, guys, go support these guys. Follow, like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next podcast.
Yep. And if you're interested in being able to get into MMA, I'm sure these guys will answer any questions you have. Just hit them up
Sure.
in the DMs. And if you're looking for a good gym, I'm sure that they'll tell you Brunson MMA and Fitness, and then Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu are 2 great choices in the local area if you're close to Wilmington.
The 2 best, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
And I'm not saying that because I'm biased.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right, guys.